Like he decided I was smart and unusual as a kid, and that was okay when I was really young. So when I did poorly in school, I was dyslexic. I didn't read until I was third or fourth grade, and they didn't care. My parents were like, "Oh, he'll be fine." So
Cool.
I was
Is
lucky. That was cool.
is he still with us? You miss him?
Mhm. Sure, yeah. He had Parkinson's and then cancer. His last 10 years were tough, and it killed him. Killing a man like that's hard.
The
So,
mind?
well, it's pretty good. Parkinson's causes slow dementia, and the chemotherapy, I think, accelerated it. But it was like hallucinogenic dementia. So he was clever and funny and interesting, and it was pretty unusual.
Do you remember conversations
Oh yeah, of course.
from that time? Like, what do you have fond memories of the guy?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anything come to mind?
A friend told me one time I could draw a computer on the whiteboard faster than anybody he'd ever met. And I said, "You should meet my dad." Like when I was a kid, he'd come home and say, "I was driving by this bridge and I was thinking about it." And he pulled out a piece of paper and he'd draw the whole bridge. He was a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
And he would just draw the whole thing and then he would tell me about it and then tell me how he would have changed it. And he had this, idea that he could understand and conceive anything. And I just grew up with that. So that was natural. So if, like when I interview people, I ask them to draw a picture of something they did on a whiteboard.
Mhm.
And it's really interesting. Like some people draw a little box, and then they'll say, "And then this talks to this." And
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Oh, this is frustrating." And I had this other guy come in one time. He says, "Well, I designed a floating point in this chip, but I'd really like to tell you how the whole thing works and then tell you how the floating point works inside of it.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I do that?" And he covered 2 whiteboards in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I hired him.
Yeah.
He was great.
There's craftsman. I mean, that's the craftsmanship to that.
Yeah, but also the mental agility to understand the whole thing,
Right.
put the pieces in context, real view of the balance of how the design worked. Because if you don't understand it properly, when you start to draw it, you'll fill up half the whiteboard with like a little piece of it, and like your ability to lay it out in an understandable way takes a lot of understanding. So
And be able to so zoom into the detail and then zoom out to the big
zoom
picture.
out really fast. And
What about the impossible thing? You see, your dad believed that you can do anything. That's a weird feature for a craftsman.
yeah,
It seems that echoes in your own behavior.
Yes.
Like that's the
well, it's not that anybody can do anything right now, right? It's that if you work at it, you can get better at it, and there might not be a limit. And they did funny things like he always wanted to play piano. So at the end of his life, he started playing the piano when he had Parkinson's, and he was terrible. But he thought if he really worked at it in this life, maybe the next life he'd be better at it.
he might be onto something.
Yeah, could be. He enjoyed doing it,
Yeah.
so that's pretty funny.